this thing. It's shorter than you think. No think.
The Holy Trinity, Bermuda, Alaskan, and Bridgewater triangles. Some say even notable deaths. The significance of 3 is undeniable. You are to bear witness to yet another event. We're invited to join your hosts, Krista, Aaron, and Brandy, as they guide you down the rabbit holes of the paranormal and unexplained, striving for answers of this world and beyond. Welcome to Blondes, Booze, and the Woo.
Hello, everybody. Welcome. As you can see, we have Krista.
I'm here. You just can't see me.
She's having camera difficulties, so we can just say, "Boy, Krista, your hair looks nice."
Right.
Wouldn't even know.
Thanks. Yeah. So anyway, we apologize for being late because I'm having camera issues, and I guess after the show I'll have to do some Googling to fix it.
Yeah, I mean, because it was to the point where she didn't even have her little avatar up there. It was like a camera with a line through it.
Right.
But at least we got that part working.
Exactly. So anyway, I'm glad everybody's here and they stuck around for a few minutes, waited for us. We definitely appreciate that.
Right. Happy Good Friday, everybody. I hope everybody is safe and sound. And my brother just got here from Michigan to spend the holiday with us. So I'm excited about that. I had to give him a hug and say, well, I got to go. He was walking in as I was leaving. I'm like, got to go.
Right. So anyway, Brandy, you want to tell everybody what to watch, and then let's just not waste any time. We'll bring Marty up, and then I just spoke to Ron Morehead. He needed me to resend the link. So anyway,
okay,
yeah,
on Monday at 6:30 p.m. you can watch Texas Front Porch with Tex and myself. On Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central, we have Van Buren Variety. At 8 p.m., we have Beyond BMR with Bigfoot Michigan Rob. 8 p.m. on Wednesday, we have Jason McLean Questions Everything. On Thursday at 12 p.m. Central, it's Brunch with Bigfoot Michigan Rob and Krista as his little sidekick. On Thursday night at 8 p.m. Central, you can catch Blondes and Booze. And if you can't get enough on Friday at 8 p.m. Central, you catch Blondes, Booze, and the Woo. And on Saturdays, Danielle, Diva, and Tex are releasing the second episode of Infamous Minds. This episode is about H.H. Holmes.
Yes. So it'll be a good episode. I'm going to just go ahead and bring Marty up.
Yes.
Hey there, girl.
Hey, how are you, ladies?
There's the lovely lady. We were talking backstage, Krista, while you were trying to fix your camera, and she's like, "Can you hear me okay? Can you see me? Is everything fine?" I thought she was going to start having problems too, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, not too."
I'm telling you, I know Jessica had issues right before her show this past week. I had issues right before my show this past week, and now you guys right before the show. Okay, so we are 3 for 3, which means tonight's episode is gonna go. It's gonna go viral. How about that? I am manifesting it right now.
Let it go viral. Yeah, let's do it.
That would be awesome.
In a good way. Okay.
In a very good way.
Yeah. No bad storms I don't care. Let a shadow person walk behind me. I don't care. Give me something.
Exactly.
Right.
That's so viral, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's like I got the 2 blondes and then I'm the only brunette. So, I'm
That's okay. That's okay.
See, you can be our boo. I already said that. You can be a boo. There you are.
I'll wear that title proudly.
That works. That definitely works. That's funny. Marty, I'm actually right now trying to pull up your flyer. And
Oh, my
so
okay, perfect.
yeah,
Yes,
Yes,
let's talk
talk
about
about it.
that. Let's
Yeah.
talk about that. And what exactly are you doing?
Well, what I'm actually doing is I'm going to be it's called the Experiencers Fellowship Forum. And basically what I'm trying to do is kind of duplicate what Daniela did on Bigfoot Odyssey, and she called hers the Encounter Hub. And she had that, and she's no longer doing it at the moment, and her and I talked about it. And I she really encouraged me and made me think, because I really want to help the community.
Mhm.
I want to give back to the community.
Right,
And
right.
one of the ways that I thought maybe I could help in this way, because I know for me, for the first time when I shared my experiences with someone, it was like a weight lifted off of my shoulders, right? And it lifted part of that burden that I was holding on to. And these a lot of experiencers, whether they are having, cryptid experiences, ET experiences, paranormal, ghost kind of whatever experiences they have, a lot of times they're very traumatic. And that manifests, in your life, and can manifest in your life in a lot of different ways. People begin to abuse alcohol or
Mhm.
drugs, or sometimes it affects people's marriages. I mean,
Right.
it can really get to into your life and eat you alive if you're not able to share things. So what I'm doing is I will be holding once a week, every Friday night. I will be for 2 hours. I will be hosting a private stream. This is not for, this is never going to be shared on any social media whatsoever. It is not recorded. It's just a stream, private stream, where I send out a link to people who say, "Hey, I want to attend." And they come in just like we are right here, right now. And all of us are in there, and we talk, and people can talk about their experiences or issues that they've had, or maybe maybe they're having a haunting, and maybe having a conversation with everybody, we can kind of help them try to figure out or find some avenues to help them. So it's really just all about that fellowship. You know how, like, when we're all around the campfire, right? And
Mhm.
we're all hanging out, and that fellowship that we feel, and we're never judged, right? We're in a
Right.
safe space, and you feel safe to share. That's what I'm hoping to create with this.
Wow.
And so that's what I'm hoping.
I think that is fantastic. And I'm actually going to put your flyer up real quick. And if anybody is interested, as she said, this is a safe place. Doesn't matter what it is, it doesn't matter what you've encountered, because I can tell you, I have encountered some crazy things, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and people are there to listen to your story,
Correct.
as Marty said. So if you are interested, there's a flyer. Contact Nonna Boss, or you're more than welcome to message Blondes and Booze, and we can connect you with Marty as well.
Thank
So,
you. I appreciate
so
that.
absolutely, I think this is a
Yeah.
great thing that you're doing. I
Yeah.
really
And it's
Absolutely.
totally free. And like I said, a lot of people, they don't want to come on a podcast, right?
Mhm. Right.
They people, maybe it's because of their job, or maybe it's because maybe their wife doesn't know about it, and the guy had the encounter when he was out hunting, and he doesn't want to share, and he's afraid and doesn't know,
Sure.
like, there's so many different scenarios and reasons why someone wouldn't be in this setting publicly. So
Right.
I'm really hoping that we can get some good participation. And so yeah, I really just want to help people and give back to the community. So
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and then the wonderful thing about it is it's not always gonna be the same faces. It could be different
correct.
faces every week.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I think
Yep.
it's fantastic. I really
Thank
do.
you.
So,
I'm excited about it.
yeah.
So
Well,
will they have the option to, I don't know, block themselves, their picture, so they can
Yes.
stay anonymous if they want
Yes.
to?
Absolutely.
Oh, that is just fantastic. So,
Absolutely. They don't have to share their, they can turn the camera off. They don't have, it can be a 100% anonymous. It's all about everybody supporting each other and allowing each person to share what they're able to share or what they're feeling that
Right.
they, maybe they need help
Yeah.
with. Because,
Yeah.
in this, because in this community, we kind of, everybody knows different people, right? So like,
Right.
I know for like, if somebody thinks they have a demon,
Right.
I have a couple of people, Krista being one of them,
Yeah.
and you guys, like, because, I wouldn't know how to really help someone if they think they really
Sure.
have, if they seriously have a demon, right? So but I can always say, hey, you can try reaching out to this person, try reaching out to that person. And at least I can, even if I can just kind of connect some dots for people and connect and network and help other people get help.
Absolutely. I think it's fantastic. Highly recommend anybody if they're wanting to tell their story, get their story out there and just get it off your chest. And a lot of times that's all somebody needs to do to move forward,
So true.
Yeah. Because some of it can be very traumatic, and
Right.
with the most of the encounters that I have, I've dealt with it for so long that it doesn't bother me. I
Mm,
process it, I get through it, I do it. But there are some people that this may be the first time that anything like that has happened. So
Sure.
mhm.
they're very concerned, and they don't want people calling them crazy.
Right.
And I will say what I've also kind of encountered with some of the people that I've kind of, talked to. Um, Thank you, Daryl. Um, a lot of the researchers that are being that they're out there researching are having issues with, I will use the term, I don't like it really, but I'll use it, that hitchhiker effect. They're out there, they're in, they're out there in the woods, and then the
Right.
next thing you know, they're seeing things, paranormal things in their homes.
Yeah.
So, they don't know how
Yes,
to deal
I
with that,
know.
and it freaks a lot of people out. So,
I'm like, yes, I know.
right?
Right.
I
And
know
who did
how
it
that
go
works.
to? Who did it go to? Because let's face it, a lot of people just think it's flesh and blood. They don't believe in the woo. They don't want to tell anybody they think it's woo. So who do they
Right.
go to?
Right.
Right? So,
Exactly.
hey, come to the fellowship forum, guys, and check it out, and you know, get it all off your chest. If you need help, we're here to help. And yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's
Wonderful.
great, Bill.
Wonderful. So just to let everybody else know, Ron is having issues getting here. So as of now, it's just the three of us.
That over here.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, what
Dang
else?
gremlins.
What's that?
I said the dang gremlins. I
I know.
hate them.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you ladies want to talk about? Let's talk about something good.
Hmm. I
We
don't
didn't
know.
prepare.
Yeah. I mean, I prepared questions for Ron.
I did too. I'm like, now I'm confused. That's all right. That's all right. We let's just talk about for a minute, Crystal, while we have everybody here. Let's talk about a few of the events we have coming up.
Yes.
Did you get the new flyer from Text today, Krista?
I did, but I don't have it downloaded here yet.
Oh shoot! And I meant to send it to you to make sure you did, but that's okay.
I can work on it here. I'll put one flyer up. You work on you talk about this.
Okay.
Flyer.
You just throw something up. We'll talk about it. Just throw up a random picture. It could be your
Yeah.
kid. Could be horses. We don't care. Throw it up there.
Hold on.
We can improv. We can do it.
You can improv, huh?
It's
Hold
Friday
on.
night. It's
That's
Easter
right.
weekend.
Friday
Well, see,
night.
my issue is we have blonde side and we have Texas front porch side. So all of my stuff was
It's
already
on the blonde side.
blonde side. Yeah. So just give me just a second, everybody. Here we go. Here we go. We'll have this one here in just a minute. and then I'll let you talk about it, and I will do the other one from Tex. There you go.
Yes, here we go. This is Malvern Manor. This is an event. It's a overnight ghost hunt. This is going to be so good. Now, I've not been to Malvern. I'm so excited about going. But on this, we're going to have Josh Hurd, who is the owner of Malvern Manor. We're going to have Dr. Rebecca Foster on, and she was on last Friday, or was it Friday or Thursday? One of those nights, but
Friday.
she was on last week. And then we're going to have Terry Mosby from CE5, Illinois.
She's in
And
the chat. I saw Terry was in the chat.
oh, yay, Terry. Hi, Terry. And then we're also going to have Tex.
Yep.
So it's going to be me and Tex together.
Live.
Ghost hunt. It's going to, if y'all know me and Tex, you watch it on Monday, you just never know what's going to happen. Just be prepared, because I'm pretty sure we're probably going to do a late night live and, see if we can't find something spooky.
Right. There you go. All right. There's that one. I'm still working on the other one. I am sorry. I actually sat down at my computer at like 20 after 7 to get some things up there. I had meant to have Marty's up there. And then when I didn't have webcam, I'm like, holy cow. So here we go. So I apologize to everybody for being told.
It happens. It happens. There's times where, I can't even stay on StreamYard. It just kicks me off. So
yeah. So hopefully it doesn't tonight.
no, I'm good.
I have
I'm
something
good.
that I could kind of plug a little bit.
Sure.
Outcast Paranormal, they are going to be having their second, it's a live interactive stage, kind of like a stage show where they do these amazing like experiments with the audience. It's interactive with the audience. And it's at this venue that's like pretty haunted. It's in Tallahassee. And let me get the name of it. I can't remember the name of the place that they're having it off.
That's cool. I love those, because there's places where you can't make everyone. You just can't. And as much as I love to, and as much as I try, this way I can actually ghost hunt and do these experiments and learn stuff, but yet still steer them in a direction that I want them to move in or to look in, and still kind of have that experience of hunting, without even leaving the house. I could sit here in a messy bug, my glasses.
No. This is a live interactive show. Okay.
Oh, they get to see me?
It's at the Legacy at the Riverfront, and it's on May 6th at 8 p.m. It's in Tallahassee, and it's literally they literally have like, they do just like some invocations. They do tarot readings. They do Ouija board session, and they have the audience participate. Last time they did like a spirit box session, and they did all of these really cool events, and it's on a stage, and it's all dark, and the lighting, and it's like a stage show. It's really phenomenal.
Wow.
It looks like Ron is here. I'm going to go ahead and bring Ron up.
Yeah. In the meantime, I want to thank Andrew. Andrew, thank you so much.
Yes.
Thank you.
I appreciate that, Andrew. Hi, Ron. How are you?
Hi, Ron.
Hi.
It's good to see you.
Oh, good to see you guys.
Yeah, you can't see Krista, but something's wrong with her camera. We're just.
You hear me okay?
Yeah, we hear you great.
Sure can. Sure can. We were wondering, we're all kind of having our little issues tonight with the internet and things like that. So we're glad you're here.
It happens.
Thank you for joining us tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. We have a lot of questions for you tonight.
All right. I love questions.
We do too. And I'm all about knowledge. And you are a wealth of it when it comes to Bigfoot.
Oh, well, thank you.
Yeah,
I've been doing it a few years.
Do you a couple minutes?
Yeah.
50, little over 50 years. Yeah.
Do you actively research out now? Are you active out in the field now?
I don't get out in the field a whole lot anymore. No, I just do conferences and broadcasts. I just came back from Hamlet this last weekend doing a conference there. And I go into Florida here a week after this one.
and I'll see you there. I will be there.
Okay,
Awesome.
good.
Hmm. Yeah.
I'm a little jealous, Marty.
Yeah, we're a little jealous.
I
Yeah,
want to
I'm
get
looking
an
forward to it.
autographed book. That's what I want. I got to get
I'll
one of
do
those.
those. Yeah.
Awesome.
Very
You want
cool.
mine?
I'm looking forward to it. Huh?
What was that, Ron?
I said, you
Are
want
you
one of
there?
my books autographed? I'm
Yes.
just kidding. I figured
She's
it was one of
like,
mine.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
so you're not out there in the field that much anymore, but are you more of a I want to call it a consultant. Are you doing a lot of consulting for people out in the field these days?
I seem to be, yeah. I get questions pretty much every day, emails and letters from people that want to tell me their story and stuff like that, what to do. And, I can't tell them what to do. Just I tell them what happened to me, and maybe it works for them, maybe it don't.
You're just like I wish you the best because everything's different.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Wow. Well, very cool. Very cool.
Hmm.
I let's go back, I guess, many years ago to 1971.
Of course.
And let's talk about, like, were you out actually looking for Bigfoot, or what was the story behind the sounds?
Okay. No, I wasn't. Nobody was. It's a hunting camp, and the Johnson brothers have been going there since 1958. And they came out with a story about these monsters up there, and they came out and told the other guys, a hunting group, it's been a hunting camp since '58. And anyway, they all went back up except me. I didn't go back up because I wasn't a hunter and I wasn't really part of the hunting group, but I was friends with them all. Well, one of the guys, they came back, the Bigfoot things came back in when they were up there, and this one guy got scared off really bad. He just jumped out of there the next day and came back home. And keep in mind, it's 8 miles in the wilderness, 8,400 feet in elevation, and
Wow.
he came back, and the guys didn't come out when they were supposed to. So the wives were all worried, and they wanted him to go back, and he wouldn't go back by himself. He's freaked out. So he asked me if I'd go with him. So I did, and that's how I got involved in the group. And started going up real regular, as often as I could.
Huh.
So that's how I got started. 71. I saw the tracks. I heard the recordings they just made the night before, and they were okay. They were just actually packing up and trying to get out. So
Wow.
anyway,
What was going through your mind when you started hearing these sounds? That I don't know if I'd have been like
Yeah.
so excited and interested in it, or would I be terrified? I really don't know, because hearing those for the first time that I'd ever heard them, they kind of scared me a little bit. I
that's
have
a
to say.
little aggressive. Yeah, they are. Yeah, well, we're heavily armed. I mean, all of us had heavy. We had our guns ready and all bullets. I don't
Yeah.
know how that would have done, but if they was going to tear in the little shelter after us, we'd have opened fire, all of us. We'd been deaf by now, but we thought we thought we might have been safe, but I don't think I'm not so sure about that now. These things are, a lot of people claim to have shot them and nothing happened. But anyway, they didn't come in after us, and we didn't have to shoot our way out. So they just started keep messing with us like that. And first thing you know, we thought we were pretty safe. They hadn't eaten us or nothing, so we were just gonna
Yeah.
buy.
So did you ever get the feeling that they knew you were coming when you guys would go, when you would go up, different on different at different times, or different trips? Did you feel like they were anticipating? Were they ready for you? Or maybe you were there a few days before they kind of realized you were there? I always wanted to know that.
Okay. Well, I know they knew we was coming one time because we packed our animals at the bottom of the trail early in the morning. Started up the trail. This is 1974, 3 years after we first encountered them. And about 200, 300 yards up the trail, I saw this. Our horses got freaked out, and we thought, well, could have been a bear, could have been a deer, could have been anything in the woods there. In fact, we killed a rattlesnake right there one time, 52-inch rattlesnake. So no telling we didn't think much of it. I didn't anyway. And
Mhm.
it's just Bill and I. We wrangled some supplies in with the horses and mules and got up probably another mile up the switchbacks of the trail. And I saw this huge track perpendicular to the trail. And I thought, oh, that's a good sign. That means they're around. And we were kind of hoping they're around because it's kind of adventurous, you know.
Mhm.
And finally, late that evening, when we got into camp, they were already there, which we didn't know at the time we got there, but we discovered later they'd been there before we got there. So, and I discovered that from, well, let me finish this, put a little run of the story here, but last night they started, we was outside the shelter and they started working or messing with us with their chatter and stuff and cracking rocks and stuff like that. So I rushed over and got my little cassette tape recorder out of the saddlebag and started recording them. And that's what got my second CD when I was interacting with them because they started messing with us while we were outside, which is really phenomenal. And that's the night I got to see one too. And that's the night I heard the samurai cry. I got it recorded. The Mad Moneymaker,
Wow.
BFRO, coined that sound when he heard it in 1995.
Yeah.
And but later that evening, after all interaction stopped and we decided to go in, well, unknowingly, Bill knocked the dust cover off his rifle, and he dropped it right there in front of the shelter doorway, which is really just two trees that grow like this, and there's a log we lay in front of it and tied the log up. And that morning when we got up, I looked out the doorway and I saw his dust cover laying there. And it was inside a track, a big, huge track, 5-toe track, but it wasn't crushed down. So
Mhm.
I knew then that something made the track before we got there.
Yeah.
And then later on, we found where two big limbs over by the spring had been twisted off. They were about that big around. I mean,
Mhm.
really big limbs, green. And they were placed up
Uh-huh.
on topped up on, set on top of the shelter. And we had just re-roofed the shelter that summer. And so the branches, all the branches that were up there were all dried up except for those two, which were just put up there just before we got there. So they got to camp before we did. They knew who we were, where we were going, and they twisted those off and just laid them up there. So
They're
that's
like,
how I know they
I,
knew who we were and they knew
wow.
where
I
we were
can't
going.
even imagine because I don't know about anybody else, but I've tried to twist a green limb
You
off a
can't.
tree. No,
Right.
no, you have to be terribly strong, and
Well,
and for
yeah,
for them to be about this big,
I
wow,
got pictures of that. Yeah.
Were
Wow.
they
wow.
were they laid like maybe like in an X
You know, I
or in
didn't look
just
for that. We just noticed they were up there and
mhm,
pulled it down. Yeah. So,
Maybe they were just like,
interesting.
hey, you need to fix that before you sleep in it. Here, we'll help you out.
Right.
Throw some stuff up there for you.
Yeah.
well, we usually laid a bunch up there just to kind of hide the plastic. Because laid heavy plastic over the deadfall. We put cables across the trees, and then laid the deadfall on top of the cables, and put heavy plastic over that, then put the alder limbs over that. So we
Wow.
usually chop them off and do that. It looked like a big beaver's nest.
Wow.
And
Hmm.
Amazing. I just want to let everybody know if they have any questions for Ron, if you would put them in all caps and then I will star them. And then after the break, we will ask him the questions. All
Yeah,
right.
we take a break, Ron. We didn't even get to talk to you, but we take a break at 52 minutes so we can go refresh our drinks or use the potty room or whatever you got to do. So just so
Yep.
you
keep
know.
in mind, I'm on Eastern time,
So am I.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and I'm an
So,
Yeah.
old man now, so
Yeah.
I go to bed
yeah,
early.
I understand. Anytime you have to go, though, just let us know. There's
yes,
no
exactly.
worries
Exactly.
there. No worries
Well, I don't
there.
have to go. I just might fall asleep on you. That's all.
We won't keep you
That'll be
too
okay
late.
because I'll be just listening, going, look, it's Ron. He's sleeping. Sweet.
Right. I do have a question, Ron. You said that you were on horseback and I myself have horses and they've, whenever I ride, you watch your horses because they will tell you what's there, be it a rabbit, a deer, whatever.
Yeah, they alert you to danger.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
Hmm.
you said you were on horseback and your horses were kind of acting up. What were they doing? I mean, that just like
Have you seen my first book, Voices in the Wilderness?
What's that? I'm
Have you saw
sorry.
it? Have you seen my first book, Voices in the Wilderness? The cover on it depicts
Yeah.
what was going on at that time. The horses were just kind of jumping around, you know how they'll do.
Right.
And
Getting antsy.
that's what they were doing. And again, we didn't think much of it because a lot of things could cause that.
Sure.
So anyway, but however, when these things were around us in camp, they didn't do that. A lot of people think they should have, but they didn't. I don't know if it's a spell they put on the horses or if the horses just didn't feel the fear, or but a bear would come around and they just act crazy. You know, they start chomping and everything else.
Sure.
So
So I could understand where maybe you would even think at first, with their horses might be a bear or, something close. I could
there's
see
a lot
that.
of bear up there. Yeah, there are a lot of bear up there.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely.
I've actually seen horses act like that when there's a snake near also.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
so
how
they'll
we.
jump around.
Because when we was
So-
coming out one time, that 52-inch rattlesnake we found right in that same area, which we ended up shooting it. I got a hat band made out of that. This is not it. Had 9.5 rattlers on it. It was a pretty good sized snake.
Wow.
That's a
Wow.
we I don't like to talk about this. But we cut its head off. I thought this is cool, so I grabbed the snake with no head, but it just wrapped itself around my arm. That's a weird feeling.
Yeah, they still keep moving, and you're like, wait a minute.
Oh, I
you're
killed one out.
you're missing a part you need, and you're
Yeah.
still moving.
Oh, more than moving, down at my ranch down the valley there, there's a little rattlesnake out there, and I went out and cut its head off, with a knife, a hose, I should say, hose. And anyway, I started messing with it with my knife, and I was taking pictures, and the thing started striking without a head at my knife.
Oh, wow.
How can
I
it see
couldn't believe
it?
I don't know how.
Wow.
I mentioned this to somebody else. Says, yeah, the snakes can do that, but they can't bite you. Obviously, they got no head.
Right.
But how do they know where to try to strike you?
I don't know. Gotta ask somebody else. I don't have no idea. That's always
No,
puzzling.
that's something.
Wow.
But I'm not the only case that's happened to.
Wow, that's a subject to talk about another time.
Well, it's a little concerning. You
Yeah.
don't know.
Absolutely. Well, they say a chicken, like you hear the saying chicken with its head cut off. They say a
Same
chicken,
thing.
will do the same thing. So I don't know if it's nerves or.
They'll keep running till the heart stops
muscle
beating.
memory. I always say, "How you doing today?" I'll say, "I'm like a head with its chicken cut off."
There you go.
Right. Like I said, they'll just keep running until the heart stops beating.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know. I have seen that a lot. We
Gary
see chicken
Spikes says they have heat sensors in their body, and that would make sense, really.
That, well, that would explain that.
Oh, very good. I love that answer.
Yeah. So it makes total sense.
Scary.
Yeah, because their eyesight is not great. They do everything by their
His eyesight
tongue.
His eyesight was buried at that time.
Yeah, he didn't have any eyesight.
That's how they basically see it with their tongue, and they didn't have it. So I don't know. So after you recorded the Sierra sounds, and I'll talk about another part of that in a minute. How many times did you go out there, or did you keep count of how many times you went out after that? And did you have any more encounters?
Oh yeah, I mean it wasn't just one time. This went on for years, from 71 through 76. Close in stuff, and after that, just strange stuff. And but we recorded multiple times up there. I started taking recorders in, and Al Berry, who we took in 1972, the investigative recorder, he's the one that really fostered the sounds to get them studied to see this, because he had a master's degree in science and he knew what to do because he was investigative reporter. It came down to interview us after he got the message to Ivan Sanderson via Peter Byrne. And so Peter Byrne got a hold of him. He came down and we interviewed us all. And they were all thinking it was a hoax. Somebody just trying to pull their leg at the time, because that doesn't happen to people. And believe me, 50 years ago today, I would have never believed it would have brought me to something like this.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel threatened in those years that you were going out there?
I was 29 then, and I don't think anything could have hurt me when I was 29.
And
Is
We
that,
that
all
what they,
think
I was
we
like, is
all
that what
think
they
we're
call young and
bulletproof.
dumb? Young and dumb. That's what I
Yeah.
call it. Young and
Yeah.
dumb.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
when I was a kid,
once
I was
we once
running in
we
the woods and everything else at all hours, I didn't even realize what
oh
was out there.
yeah, nothing. I went
Uh-oh.
one
Hang on a
time.
second.
I forgot.
There you go.
One time, I don't know what year it was, but Warren Johnson, the Leaderburger, he and I was up there, and we heard one of these things mouthing off out there, and we thought, why don't we just jump out through this doorway and see if we can see it run off, because it was kind of moonlit night. And we did just that and didn't see anything run off. And so we thought, well, it must be up there around that big tree. And so we started walking up around close to that tree, and we got, probably 20 feet from the tree, something like that. And we were about 15 feet apart, and all of a sudden we got stopped, just froze like a force field, how I describe it. And I don't know what makes that happen other than scientists told one time that he just don't want to hear about our fear. And I said, it wasn't fear. We weren't afraid then because they hadn't eaten us or nothing like that. And they weren't being malicious with us. So he said, well, it had to be infrasound or pheromones, because large animals, a lot of them can communicate in infrasound, which you don't hear, but you feel it. And we were
Sure.
feeling something, but you just couldn't go forward. And he looked at me and I looked at him. He said, I don't know about you, but I got to go back. I can't go any further. I said, well, I can't either. And so we turned around and went back. As soon as we got back in the shelter, it started sounding off again. And so I pulled one
wow.
over or something. So later on, though, I think I put the dots together to show that they have a human component to them. And I think I've got the information for you for that. And but so if they do, it could have been pheromones, but I kind of doubt it. 'Cause pheromones only work within the same species. So I kind of put it off then as infrasound. I still do because infrasound can play tricks on you. That's how elephants communicate over great distances. Giraffes and large animals do.
Mhm.
We don't hear it though. They go down below 20
Wow.
hertz.
So the infrasound, I've heard others say that too, and that kind of goes along on the woo side of things. And I know you mentioned that. How convinced are you that these things are flesh and blood, or have a little bit of woo to them too? Other.
Well, let me explain something about woo to you. I studied quantum physics, and quantum physics will answer a lot of issues in the woo or the paranormal, but it's not to be compared because that's a pseudoscience and it's just not. It's people's beliefs and what it could be. But quantum physics is an actual science accepted by scientists all over the world. So I believe that there's an answer to everything. And Al Berry, the reporter we took in there, like I say, he had a master's degree in science, and he says, "Don't talk about the crazy things going on up here, or then no one's ever going to believe you." So we didn't for a long time, but I do now because too many people over the years just reported all the stuff that was happening to us up there. So I can come forward with it now and talk about it.
Right.
But the woo, you call me that if you want to, but that's where I am. I call myself a citizen scientist without a degree.
Mhm.
Wow.
But the first what was the first indication to you that there was something else going on than just these beings, you know, being flesh and blood? What was the very first thing that made you say to yourself, something is going on here and not just an ape running around in the woods? Like, what was that first thing?
Well, there's a lot of things going on. I'm trying to think of what might have been the first thing. Uh, Daytime, you hear a big wooing sound up in the sky, like a large tuning fork, and you can't find the source of it. So that was strange. And you see the lights, like the orb lights.
Mhm.
Uh, Johnsons were up there one time. I wasn't at the time, but they said they had these lights actually above their head, following them around while they was walking around camp. And then David Paulides, who I took up there in 2018, reproduced this bar light that went across by our tent. And you can call that the woo, but there's an intelligence behind it. It's a form of energy. And
Yes.
I believe that. And I think Bigfoot has a vocal range which is much superior to ours. And that's been established by Professor Curlin at the University of Wyoming. And then you got the cryptolinguist, who a two-time graduate of the Navy's School of Languages, and he came out and heard them by accident on the BFRO actually site, and came out and interviewed us and got the context access. He could study the sounds, and he did, and he came back and said these things have a language by the human definition of language, and that's critical if you think about it, because only humans, according to Philip Lieberman, Brown University, only humans have the ability for cognitive sapient language like we're doing now.
Mm-hmm.
So if you got Dr. Curlin says they speak outside the human range, inside the human range too, and below the human range and above it. He got a graph in the book that he put his paper in, and you got him saying that, and you got Scott Nelson, who is, well, not too many people have the qualifications he has, which
Right.
determines that he can transcribe an actual language from these sounds, say that they have a language, which means a morphine stream of words like we're doing now. Not just a whoop or a yell, but they have a language. And then you got Dr. Lieberman says only humans have that. Well, it kind of puts two and two and two makes six. You know, it's just,
Sure.
Yes.
or there has to be a human component to them, and that
Right.
I think is proof right there that from professors and professional people that say this stuff. And these things have been looked at for over 50 years now, and they can't get debunked. And you got somebody like Rogan saying he can duplicate them. Well, he's no. I know the guy's a smart guy, but he should do his homework. He has no idea what's been done with these sounds and what's been checked out for him to say he can make the sound. Plus, they step on each other in my recordings. One's talking and another talks over it, so
Mm-hmm.
you can't make that happen. I mean, humans
Right.
can't make it. Plus, according to Dr. Curlin, it represented an animal over 8 foot tall. And how do you get around that one compared to the
Right.
human vocal range? And you got Dr. Benson, I think his name is, West Texas or Texas A&M,
Mm-hmm.
who looked at him just a quickie. He didn't go into it too deep because he didn't have time. He said, but full blown study on something like that. But he's a researcher, scientist back there. He said what he heard was too powerful to be human made, and it was represented an animal 8 foot 5 inches tall compared to human vocal tract. So we know that they're big, and that's not the biggest one either. I got to tell you that.
Yeah,
Wow.
I thought about that too. It must be very complex because you hear the typical whoops and things like that they'll do and da 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 da, but then in your recordings you start hearing like conversations between two people, like they're far away, like but you can't make out what they're saying, but you can hear them having a conversation,
Mm-hmm.
and then it turns around, excuse me, and then it turns around, and then you have the samurai sounds
Mm-hmm.
that completely amazed me. It's kind
Yeah.
of like it sounds like not only they're speaking their own language, it's like they're speaking several
Mm-hmm.
in one.
Uh,
All at
here's what
once. Yeah.
here's what the cryptolinguist said. He said that the same vocal mechanism made the sounds from the earlier ones, the aggressive sounds, has made the ones that I recorded in '74, because they are different, and they were having a different attitude then too. I mean, they
Yeah.
were really getting close to us,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the night I got to see one. Bill and I both did actually 2 different times that night, and uh, you know, he says they slowed their. He thinks they slowed their chatter down to something perhaps we could understand, because
Interesting.
they were actually asking me a question, and you can hear that inflection on my recording.
Mm-hmm.
They were asking me something, and I was mimicking back, not realizing what we were dealing with at the time. None of us really knew what we were dealing with at the time. We just knew, I guess we call them Bigfoot because they had a big foot and they're big, and just assumed they
So
were like all the other.
did you get the feeling that they were wanting to communicate with you guys? I mean, did you really get a feeling of they're not here to hurt us and they're coming and they're trying to communicate with you in any way? I mean, or did you just think they were there to terrorize you?
No, no, I think they were there to communicate with us. In fact, I know that because if you listen to the sounds, it's an actual question being yelled out at me. When I remember come back, they just go, boo, just a, wow, he answered me, just
Yeah.
something like that.
Yeah.
So I'm sure they were trying to tell me something. To this day. I don't know what they were trying to tell me because they only transcribed the language. They couldn't interpret the language.
Yeah,
Right.
because
You
it
can't really
was,
do
I
that.
mean, it really was almost humanoid. It
Yeah,
It
it
is.
really was, and it was slowed
great.
down. I've heard other recordings where the chatter's so fast, and it
Yeah.
just sounds like just random sounds coming out.
Right.
But in your recordings, it's like they've actually slowed down. Like,
Wow.
okay,
That's
so
so
they're
true.
like, okay, so
Mhm.
Ron will understand this. I'm going to slow down and talk to Ron. It's kind of like what it seems like to me. It's like, let's slow down.
Yeah, that's exactly what the cryptolinguist said. Yeah, he thinks
Did
they
you ever
slowed it
get the
down.
feeling, did you ever get the feeling that they were trying to communicate when only certain like if you were there and two other people
Sorry
regular,
about that.
going there regular on a regular basis, did you feel like it was only when you guys went, or if there were other people that came to the camp, did they try to communicate with them as well?
Well, they were making their sounds with the other
Mhm.
guys there, but this night when we started seeing them when we were outside, just Bill and and he and I had probably more interaction than probably anybody up there
Then the
because it seems
others.
like every time
Okay.
he and I went in, we had something going on. And
Wow.
he's the same mental attitude, I think, as I am.
Oh,
And
okay.
we were
So
both,
that's interesting.
members of a huge church down there, and that's how we met. And we just hung out a lot together. So,
Nice, nice. Did
Mm.
you ever like have Bigfoot experiences elsewhere?
well, yeah, uh, yeah.
Do
Where?
you think do you think that once you see a Bigfoot that it's going to be easier for you to spot them next time? It's kind of like you're a marked person. Like,
Well, you could be a marked person because I think they tune into your frequency. And according
Yes.
to Tesla, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. We, at our most minute level of existence, is energy. That's what we are. We're energy vibrating at a frequency. And if you can find that frequency, you can change matter. Now, here you get into some physics if you want. This is Einstein. This is
Hmm.
Dr. Paul Dirac, also, who won the Nobel Prize in 1933 for antimatter, showing the direct relationship energy and matter are interchangeable. Matter and energy are interchangeable. So you talk about that, and then you find out, well, can they disappear? That's the science behind how they can disappear. Because if I can
Hmm.
change their matter through frequency,
Frequency.
they go out of your perception. And we only see within certain frequency. Our visual frequencies are 430 to 770 terahertz. That's the only field we can see in with our eyes. But all these other frequencies are out there. I mean, way out there. And that's how
okay,
I think the masters did their miracles. And that's how, you know, we're
Hmm.
supposed to be able to do that too. But we haven't reached that level of awareness yet.
yeah,
Hmm.
I'm tracking with you. So what you're saying is that they can change their matter, change shapeshift, perhaps.
Well, if there's an answer to shapeshifting, I think that would be it. I've never saw that I know of. I mean, you don't know what you're seeing if it changes something else. You don't know.
Hmm.
Well,
However, that's the
or
skinwalker ranch stuff.
right,
Right.
right, right. I mean, because everybody says, well, you if they have an experience and they see one, and then all of a sudden it's gone. You can't hear it, you can't see it, nothing. It's just gone completely, and they don't know where they go.
And the
It's like,
trackway stop.
Yes.
Trackway stop. That
Yeah.
happened to us up
mhm,
there once.
yeah.
My daughter had a sighting. We found the trackway and followed it, and it just stopped, and we could not see where it went or anything. So that really got me to think, okay, where you change physical to physical matter into energy only, you wouldn't have density anymore. So you wouldn't leave a track any longer. And if you
Right.
saw that 401 The Missing, where I was about 15 minutes in that, right after my episode in that, there was
Yeah.
this lady who was tree hunting. She was in a tree and she's seen this pixelated form go from one tree to another. And that's the same report that I get from others that have said they saw them before, then they're gone. And it's an interesting field. This is really a fun thing to be looking into, you know.
Yeah.
And when you get into
Yeah.
how they do what they do, you find that quantum physics answers as paranormal and those woo-woo questions.
Yes,
Yeah.
scientifically.
It's like you got
Yeah,
my
It's not enough.
attention.
Yeah, I mean, but, you know, it's not a speculation. It's not an opinion. It's science.
It's science.
right.
But
Yeah.
You know, Edgar
how much,
Mitchell had
okay, from what you know, since you studied your science, you know a lot of the stuff from quantum physics and all of this other good stuff. How much of it can you not explain that you've experienced yourself?
Good question.
I think I've explained just about everything to myself through physics because everything has an answer. And, you know, if you get into quantum physics, it's in Newtonian physics, what we're all taught in grade school. You know,
Right.
it's everything is measurable, predictable, material or physical. Quantum physics isn't that way. There's no end. How do you explain the end of space to somebody? Well, that's what won the Nobel Prize for Max Planck, who won the Nobel Prize in 1918 for quantum physics, and that's what got Einstein, Bohr, Tesla, Schrodinger, all these guys into studying quantum physics because it answers the questions that classical science don't answer. It's
Yeah.
called the modern science. So you know, when you like the things that happened to us up there at the time, we just had to put the stuff on the shelf because you couldn't explain it. But now I think I've explained it to myself anyway, and hopefully
Yeah.
others answer questions for others too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But it's
Well, we
not
are
hard
coming
to
up.
it's not hard to get your head around it all. Coming
Right.
to a break.
Is we are coming up to the 52-minute mark. Actually, we're there, so we are going to have to take a 5-minute break. And Ron, it will count down. I'll play it, and it will do a countdown. So get yourself a drink, whatever you need to do. And when we come back, I'd like to talk about Alaskan Killer Bigfoot
Yes, let's talk about that.
and
Got it.
some other things. So when we come back, we will talk about that, and then we will answer questions because there are several questions out there that I have
Okay.
started. Guys, give us 5 minutes, and we'll be right back.
See you in 5.
Four minutes to go, folks. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. We're almost there. Two-minute warning, guys. 2-minute warning. One minute. 1 minute.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. And I appreciate each and every one of you for sticking with us in these 5 minutes. And for those of you that have shown up late, I cannot get my camera to work on my computer, so you don't get to see me. You're blessed with that tonight. So
Well, Krista, I was going to tell you, you look absolutely stunning.
Absolutely.
is driving me nuts. So anyway, that's on my to-do list tomorrow is to fix my camera. Anyway,
Oh,
and
don't
Ron,
lie. You know you're going to be up half the night trying to fix it.
probably so. Ron, we definitely appreciate you coming on and talking about us with all this stuff because I mean it's just it's amazing everything that you have done and the sounds. I mean, it just can't put it into words. My quick question to you: what is your advice to somebody who's new to Bigfooting, about going out and having an encounter, like maybe playing your Sierra sounds or what's your advice to somebody like us, like Brandy?
My advice to somebody just getting into it is just keep an open mind.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Parachute
Great advice.
only works when it opens, and you can't be stuck in just classical physics or classical training. Don't believe everything you're hearing because everything I'm saying is the truth. Though I guarantee you that it's how I feel and how I think, what I've experienced. And
Right.
I've been pretty much around the world. I've been in Peru, Bolivia, Moscow, Siberia, and Nepal, and researching stuff. And it just have an adventurous spirit and keep an open mind. And don't try to make something happen. You can't make it happen.
Sure.
Don't go out there and think you're going to get the prize bullet or something and shoot one of them, because it's probably wasn't going to happen anyway, but you'll never see one. Uh, some, I don't think they're all the same. I got to tell you that right up front too.
Mhm.
They're not all the same. You see one Bigfoot, you have not seen them all. I'm not sure that what we were dealing with up there is something that's just not pure alien. Uh,
Yeah.
I heard other people say, "Well, I heard these things I was with. I heard the samurai chatter. They heard them talking." A lot of people say, "Well, they heard their dog's name being called, and their dog wasn't even there." And
Mhm.
can they
Mhm.
follow you around? A lot of people say they got the hitchhiker effect. Well, I guess you could call it that, but I've had them beat on my home at the ranch in California when I lived out there, and I had
Wow.
something following me around when I was in the field out there. So things happen that are strange. You can't explain them, but don't let it fear you. Fear is your only enemy, and that's what you got to watch
Mhm.
for. If you're out in the woods, try not to be afraid, and,
Yeah.
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 Do
that's
you?
that's.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt. I
Go ahead.
Oh,
No,
no, we do that all the time. Go ahead.
Well,
I'm always.
I do you think, Ron, that it's important to set an intention, when you're going out researching, that your intention is to share the space with them and to be respectful and to show them that, you're not there to hurt them and that, you're there to learn. Do you think that that works, setting intentions?
But you got to have that in your spirit, in your soul. It's not just something you can say to somebody. And yeah, if you've got that going on and you just want to learn more, I think you have a better chance, because they can tune into your frequency,
Mhm.
and, and that's called quantum entanglement. I call it that anyway. They
Yeah.
can
Yeah.
entangle inside of you, and they don't know that that's happened to me. Maybe that's why they talk to me up there, because I'm too analytical with my thinking. I try to figure things out. What was I thinking to make that happen? But they may have been trying to do that with me, but it didn't happen. However,
Yeah.
were all calm. We got over the
Mhm.
fear part of it, if it was, and
Hmm.
there's a certain amount of fear that you got to get over.
Sure.
And the last time I had the interaction with them up there, I say interaction, when they messed with me, and that was in 2011, and that was a I couldn't help but have a little bit of fear then, but really I was by myself, and that's kind of a no-no thing to do up there, because other things
Yeah.
can get you besides these things. If they got had the
Hmm.
intent, they could have had me a million times. So I try not to have fear when I think they're around. When anything's around, fear is caused from something you don't understand. So I just try to get people to try to understand better and understand who you are as a human being, because we are being given dominion on this planet, not anything else, and we're
Mhm.
destroying it. And I got to tell you, that's bothering them, I think, more than anything, because
Yeah, I
we're
agree.
cutting it apart, blowing up bombs, and killing people, and that's just not what
Hmm.
they want to see and want to happen to this planet.
Mhm.
So I get into
Yeah.
that a little, like quantum physics, because I think if we can raise our personal vibrational frequency higher, we will have a better chance of getting to where we want to go to when this
Yes.
embodiment passes on. And it can't
Yeah.
die, and that's where I get into the ethereal, because
Mhm.
we got a physical body, but then we have the other part of us too. That's where consciousness is. That's the part that doesn't die.
Mhm.
But I'm getting philosophical now, but it's still part of science.
Well,
Right.
And
yeah, and I
We love
understand that.
it.
I mean, because they say that we're made up of energy, and that energy doesn't die. It just transfers from one spot to another spot. So I have heard people say in experiences that they have what we would call orbs, but it's a manifestation of energy around Bigfoot, or they've seen them before they had their encounter or after they haven't their encounter. Have you had any of these?
oh yeah, the orbs, yeah, lights. I've seen a UFO up there once, and yeah, there's things, you name it. It's pretty much yeah, crazy times we're living in. But why they were doing that with us, I don't know. Maybe so I could talk with you guys tonight.
Maybe, maybe.
It's yeah,
Everything
it's an
happens for
adventure.
a reason. Yes.
Yeah,
Did you get the feeling that every time you went back, that you were encountering the same beings over and over, or maybe they were different ones, or they sounded different?
I think the vocalizations were coming from the same family of beings that we had up there, and
Hmm.
some of the other stuff that happened that I don't know about, like one time we tore apart the shelter, got barrels, and we'd haul it on mules and cable to trees up there so the bears wouldn't tear them off. We thought they were being torn apart, and our food that we'd packed in was being strung out. And you look out when all the commotion stopped and nothing's changed. It just does not make any sense. So
Hmm.
how'd that happen? Were they hypnotized us all, or did they make us think we heard that? All of us at once? Um,
Right.
you don't know what to do with that, so you just sort of put it on the shelf. You don't know what to do with it. And
Have
so
you
we did
ever
all
had
that
any
stuff.
missing time?
Not that I know of. I mean, I go to sleep, I wake up, I don't know what happened in between.
Absolutely. I
Makes
I
sense.
feel you there.
Yeah.
Wake up and
However, I
you
do
know.
believe in aliens. I think all of us do now, since our government said it's
Yes.
okay to believe in aliens. Now we can believe in aliens, right? Roswell was not a weather balloon after all, right?
Hmm.
So I
Right.
get into that in the new book I'm writing, and I think
Oh,
aliens have
wonderful.
been coming here a long time before Homo sapiens began. That's
Yeah.
us. And
Wow.
I think they probably messed with the DNA of different species on this planet for a long, long time.
Hmm.
Could have been where Bigfoot
Agreed.
came from, the troglodytes were here. No question about that. We all evolve, everything evolves. And the DNA of different species have been manipulated into different things. Could be the dog man, could be Bigfoot. I think
Yeah.
a lot of them are different, and they're different because of the nuclear DNA. That's the male part of the genome, and
Hmm.
the maternal part, the female part, is what they're finding is got some human in it, and
Wow.
Mm.
so
Wow.
that's where Dr. Ketchum got in a little bit of hot water with academia because also they said, well, it's not in the genome, the 237 or 227 billion species. If it's
Hmm.
not in there, it can't exist. So I think science is stuck in a, some of them are stuck. There's a
Yeah.
few scientists that are
Yeah.
sticking to it. Well, they are. Science is, well, they've been trained in the parameters of certain disciplines, and I respect them
Hmm.
for going through all
Sure.
they went through, that degree and all that, but they can't open up into, some of them go to church on Sunday and believe in God, and what's God if he's not woo woo, right? He's off another dimension. Where?
Right.
Tell me. No, it's higher frequency light
Yeah.
being.
Hmm.
And
Gotcha.
so you start looking at all that. I get all back into the cuneiform text and see what it really says about God and all that stuff. And
Hmm.
just about all written languages had their core of truth came out of the cuneiform text, and that's in Upper Mesopotamia when the supposedly the Anunnaki would teach the Sumerians. And that's the writing they did was a little wedge type writing, cuneiform text,
Hmm.
and that's where different languages had their root, including Hebrew.
Right.
So you want to
Mm.
know something more about how all that comes about, it takes a lot of looking into, but it's really fun once you get into it because you find out and some things that will really throw a curve into a lot of religions, a lot of people's
Hmm.
brains when you start looking. And it's through me because I was raised in a church. I was raised religiously, but I don't. I'm not religious anymore. I just don't
Hmm.
go. But I'm spiritual, like we all are. Whether you like it or not, you're a spiritual being that's not going to die. Your cognizance and your everything about you, not everything, your embodiment won't keep going, but your who you really are will,
Hmm.
and it'll change forms according to Einstein, according to physics, really. Even Stephen
Hmm.
Hawking said.
Sure. Sure. Let's talk about Alaskan killer Bigfoot.
Ah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah.
What
Mhm.
do you want to Yeah, they
So
flew me up there, Discovery
yeah,
Channel, and
and when you got asked to go up there, did you think you what did you think you were walking into? Like these Bigfoot who are just downright killers or just normal, your everyday average Bigfoot?
well, I was walking into just a story until something definite happens. That's all it is a story. But the Portlock area up there where they flew me into, it's got a definite written history. It's a fact. It's not like just a story being told. It was in the newspapers and everything. 30 some odd people, I think, got mangled and tore apart. I was with the heirs up there when they flew me in by helicopter, but they flew me into Homer, Alaska, which is down south of Anchorage, and from there I took a helicopter over into where these guys were at Portlock, and I flew over the area pretty much because I kind of looking for just what a layout was, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So from what I could see and what I'd read about in books before I got there and all that, they were it heavily timbered it, and that's really what these things don't like. These things do not like
Yes.
timbering.
Deforest. Yes,
A
deforest.
lot of sightings going
Yeah,
around
they
from
don't.
people who have been timbering. In fact, Peter Byrne just talked to him the other day, and he gave me a story about these loggers that were all skeptical and unbelieving in Bigfoot until they saw one when they were clear cutting this area.
Mhm.
That was just not too long ago, and it happens. I've interviewed so many people that when they were messing with trees is when they saw one. You know, these things
Mhm.
just don't like it. So I could see where old growth was still around here and there, but the new growth that was coming up had been timbered years and years ago, and they were timbering it a lot. And they were also, I think, overfishing it because the pictures that I saw of them timbering was just phenomenal fishing there. And the heirs wanted to come back and rehabilitate the place, you know. They were also mining the area, and I said, you know, I got a feeling. I said, I can't tell you if it's safe or not because some of these may be malicious. They may have been created by something that don't want you here just because who knows.
Right.
However, if you show respect for the property, respect for the land, and don't overdo it,
Mm-hmm.
that's how you'll find out. I said, if you want to come back, just two or three of you, I'd come back with you, but no cameras, no nothing like that. Just be here and try to respect the property. Then you'll
Mhm.
find out. If they come out and kill us all, then we'll know.
That's
That's
true. You're gonna know, or maybe not.
Yeah,
anyway.
what are you going to do? I mean, they're either going to try to kill you
Well,
or not.
yeah.
You can't do
It
anything about
doesn't
it.
matter. What does it matter? You're
Yeah,
just going to change forms anyway, right?
right,
Right.
Well,
right.
anyway, that was my advice. Just show more respect for the property, for the area. But
Yeah.
Mhm.
still, I don't think they still got the guard up. They don't. But there is something going up there. You know, you asked me before if there's any places I thought was really for sure, and I think Port Locker is for sure. There's something up there. Yeah, we got some reactions. They wanted to blast my sounds, and I said I don't really recommend that because you don't know what they're really saying in those sounds. You don't know
Yeah.
if they're challenging you to a fight or if they're looking for a
Mhm.
mate. You know, you don't know, and it could be dangerous either way. So, however, they did, and they got some. We got some reaction from that. But
Right.
I guarantee you, if one of them would have jumped out of the woods at that time, nighttime, there was a guy with a high-powered gun there. He'd probably shot it because it would have been spooky. I tell you too, years ago, this happened in the late '40s. You know, they closed down the village in the late
Mm-hmm.
'40s. No one around that was really part of that. Who could really tell me with eyes on what happened. But if these things were coming out, they said they're like 15 feet tall up there. They're huge. And,
Wow.
Mhm.
if they came out of the woods screaming at these guys for cutting timber down or doing something they didn't like, they probably would have shot at them because they probably a little more than they could handle.
Sure.
Uh,
Mhm.
I guess. I don't know of anyone that really knows that answer, but
Yeah.
if somebody shot at me, I wouldn't like it
Mhm.
No.
at all.
Yeah.
But I've heard people talk. I've heard people talk about that. If you're out in the field, that you shouldn't have a gun because if perhaps they see the gun, that they won't show themselves or feel as comfortable to show themselves.
Well, I
Do you believe
disagree.
that's true?
No, no, no. We all had guns all the time that came out around us.
Mm-hmm.
I think they know your intent. They can read your aura, and we all have
Mhm.
the energy that animals can read. My horse could read my aura. I mean, he knew which way I wanted to go
Right.
before I ever said which way I wanted to go. He just could read.
Right, right.
I intentionally one time was walking straight towards some trees, and I was thinking, I said, I'm not going to move my knees. I'm not going to do anything to key him to go one way or the other. And I just thought I'm going to go that way, and he went that way. More than
Wow.
once. It's just one of those. You become one with the horse, right, Krista? Are you still there?
Absolutely. Yep, I'm here. Absolutely, you do.
That's called becoming one, and we're all one. Let's get into that subject for a minute if you want to.
Yes,
Okay, yes.
definitely.
We're one energy. We're one consciousness. We just haven't learned how to hook into it yet. So in my previous book, The Quantum Bigfoot, I get into the pineal gland, how important it is that we learn
Mhm.
it's a receptor for the
Hmm.
universe. You want to know what's really going on. You have to clean that up, get it decalcified, and start allowing it to talk to you. And that has to be connected, and it is connected directly to the heart. The heart's got a brain. Get your heart and your brain up here in coherence with each other. So they're rhythmically working. That's what chakras are all about, balancing yourself. And if you
Yep.
can do that, you'll have all three of those things working for you, and everything will turn out right for you as long as you follow that leadership. A lot of times
Yeah.
your brain wants to analyze things and go the wrong way. And I say, listen to your heart, because your heart is your guide. And that's
Mhm.
receiving from the pineal gland. So you get that from meditation. And that's
Hmm.
Absolutely.
how I think.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, how does that relate to Bigfoot? If he's part human, he's probably got some attributes like that.
Mhm.
And
Right.
he's got other attributes that we don't have. And I'm sure we have as much as they have, if not more. We just, again, haven't learned how to evolve into them yet. And even Christ said, I wish that all could be one as I am one. You and you hear a lot of this oneness stuff going on where this whole universe is one consciousness, one, and we're just sort of separated from it. And the way you get tuned into it is like the aliens have, and like most of them are, they're tuned into it, and they mind speak all the time. I think. I mean, I haven't talked to them.
Mhm.
Well, I say I haven't talked to them. I take that back. Something messes with me every once in a while during the night.
In what way?
Well, they grab my feet or crazy, or they'll appear. I've seen them, and that's just when you're asleep and you wake up like that and something's staring you in the face. I reach up like there's nothing there, but you put your hand right through it,
Wow.
and that's a little fun of a feeling. I don't know. I shouldn't be
Hmm.
talking about this stuff because it makes me feel like you put me in the funny part for long.
No, I mean, I
There's more going on. We're
That's
living
you'll be in.
this
We'll meet you there. You'll be in great company. I promise.
this embodiment, this embodiment that we have has two parts to it. It's physical and it's got the ethereal.
Hmm.
no, I've had communications with them, so
Yeah,
I
and that's what
understand.
Congress is. So it's anyway. Did I finish my Portlock story?
We don't know. We go down any
Yeah.
rabbit hole. You just
Well,
one word
anyway,
and we're gone.
I do think they've got something up there. I do believe they do. They do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it could be that
Awesome.
big. We've had some big ones reported even down here. In
Mhm.
Well,
fact, one of the largest tracks we had up there, we never found it right at our camp. We found it up on the hillside coming out of these boulders. It's 25
well,
and a half.
unfortunately, when we watch these shows, you've got to ask yourself how much is for ratings and how much is for real.
Right.
So that's why we enjoy talking with you,
Mhm.
Ron, because you'll give us the for real scenario and everything that happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Because the TV, you can't trust TV anymore. You just they just
I
make up
don't,
their story and tell you what you
Mhm.
want to hear to give
I
them good
don't,
ratings.
I
Well,
don't
we
hardly
never know if
watch it
they're
because of that.
scripted or not, you know?
Tell you what, the government's only going to give you what they think you can handle, and they control the narrative. So
Yes, they do.
Absolutely. But we can
Yeah.
believe in aliens now,
that's
because they
right.
did that. They did that real soft release. Did you get that, Ron? That soft
Well,
release
they're just
about
going to
things
keep
we already knew.
they're going to keep feeding us what they think they can handle, and they'll lie
Yeah,
to
Right.
us
a
about
little
everything
bit.
else. If they can't control it, they'll make fun of it, and or they'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
hide it somewhere or mess up the
Yeah.
person saying it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. Well,
I
we have
haven't had.
lots of questions, Ron, for you.
Okay.
People have asked, and I'll go through them one at a time here in order that I saw them. Daryl Denton asks, Ron, can you tell the story about the noise of the camp being ransacked, and when you checked the campsite, nothing had happened?
Yeah, I told that a while ago.
Yeah.
Didn't I?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I think he missed. I think that Daryl put that out before he was talking about that.
Gotcha. Okay. Was there ever a smell during an encounter? This is Jeanette Bowman.
I get asked that a
I'm
lot
gonna.
because people can report smells, but no, we didn't have those smells up there, and they've been within feet of us since we were right outside the shelter. I hear them tromping around out there, and
And no smell.
no, no. But
I never
again, they're
smelled
not all the
anything
same.
either.
I'm not sure that they can't just submit that like a skunk, if they want
Hmm.
to, or
Yeah.
again, they're not all the same. In my opinion, they're
Hmm.
just not the same.
Sure.
Some can do things that other ones can't do. I don't know if they can all talk like ours talk.
Yeah.
I don't know. You know, I
Hmm.
don't
Yeah,
know. There's a
yeah.
lot of
Because
things
like
we
I
still
said,
don't
I
know.
I have heard different recordings, and really none of them sound the same. None of them do. I mean, they
Oh, it's
have their
screams or yells,
yeah. Those are kind of the same. But
rapping
when
on
you get down to
trees.
the chatter part,
Yeah.
Hmm.
Well, that was first reported, by Albert Osman when he got kidnapped up in
Hmm.
British Columbia in 1924. He gave his report to John Green. It's in the Apes Among Us
Hmm.
book that John Green wrote, and he said they were chatting amongst themselves. He was held captive for 6 days by a family, Bigfoot, a male, a female, and two adolescents. And it's a fun story. If you want to read about it. But the biggest thing I took out of it was they were chattering amongst themselves. And I flew up there one time with Peter Byrne and Albert and a filmer, and we were trying to find where he was taken off to. I landed my plane on a little creek bed there, and we started trying to analyze the story that Albert Osman told and where the bowl could have been that he was held in, but never could find it. And we had two helicopters on standby over at Camel River. And it was a fun trip. All those things are fun. I always had fun time doing this stuff. But, so that's they've been chattering, and you get into Fred Beck. Uh, he, the story about him. He supposedly shot one years
Ah.
ago.
oh yeah,
He
yeah. Okay.
claimed it fell off a cliff there at Ape Canyon and in Oregon, and they couldn't find the body. But previously to that, him and the other guys have been encountering these things, and they found this trackway. And he said in his writings that it would have had to jump 160 feet to have not left another track. So right away, everybody thinks, well, they got picked up by a helicopter. What other answer could there be? The answer is in physics, mass and energy is interchangeable, and density changes when you lose your mass.
Hmm.
Wow.
There,
Hmm.
Interesting.
there.
Interesting. Lily
That's my
Pond.
answer.
Lily Pond says infrasound is used by elephants and tigers as well. Is it woo?
No, no, it's real.
Hmm.
Just because you
Hmm.
can't hear it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, no, they can record infrasound. You just have to have the right recorder to do it. It's something real. It's not woo.
I
Yeah.
mean,
Woo is
isn't there a frequency that children can hear or adolescents can hear, and then as we grow older,
yeah, you're on
we
it.
all of a sudden, like we can't
Mm-hmm.
hear it, but they can.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
how does
yeah.
that
My
happen?
kids had those little mystery friends too. A lot of kids do, and
Hmm.
Hmm.
they're talking to something. And I think, and I write about this a little bit too, that I think when a little child starts getting a little cultural-fied, I guess is a good word for it, he gets indoctrinated into our cultures when they lose that, and as they get older, then first thing when they're young like that, they're still in their form a lot. The body has not. In fact, a little baby can't even talk, but they'll look at you and stare at you like they want to tell you something. That happened to
Right.
me a lot. Uh, and
Right.
I think they know things, but they can't say it.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
first thing you know, they're out of that phase when they get to 2, 3, 4 years old.
Yeah.
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 Too
Thank
bad.
you,
And I
Donnie.
look. I wish you could just tell me what you know.
Right.
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 Yes.
Yeah. Donnie, thank you very
Maybe
much.
one day.
He just says, I never watch Bigfoot shows because they keep advertising a Bigfoot, but Bigfoot never shows up. What gives?
Well, somebody said, "Hey, Donnie, you must be watching Never Finding Bigfoot."
Yeah, they
Well,
interviewed me one time, and it never got on the program because they didn't want someone that found Bigfoot. They just want someone who's
yeah,
looking for Bigfoot or
right.
saw
Yeah,
one or something.
Yeah,
right. It's just kind of like, well, when you want to find them, you're not going to.
Yeah.
You're
yeah,
just not.
Well, you got to right. I don't think so. If you're out looking for them, it seems like you're never going to find them. But if you just go out and be still and be who you are and be a good person and
yeah,
enjoy the area, and because when we were at that camp, it's like being in heaven. It's just so nice there. There's creeks running and
yeah,
trees and everything going on, and
yeah,
it's like you're just at peace. Because I was a businessman, had over 200 employees at one time, and I just you get away from it all up there. And
yeah.
that's I
Right.
know Warren Johnson said this is about as close to heaven as I think I'll ever get. Of course, he's dead
Mhm.
now,
Right.
so we.
Right,
Uh,
right.
well,
I
I should
know.
say
I was gonna say, I
nothing.
know on the Alaskan Killer Bigfoot, you guys heard whistling. Is that something you've heard before?
Well, I got a recorded whistle. Yeah, they whistle, but they whistle through their vocal cavity, not through their lips like we do. That's been
Gotcha.
established by the studies on it.
Sounds
Interesting.
familiar, Krista. Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, we had an encounter. Brandy and I, we had an encounter at Land Between the Lakes, and several people heard whistling. So that
Mhm.
was kind of interesting to us.
Yeah, I encourage people to learn animal sounds, and when you do hear something, if
Yeah,
you can record it, fine. Go back and try to match it with something that's on the internet because they got all kind of you can find that stuff.
yeah,
Uh, but a whistle like these things make is the amplitude of it is big. In fact, their
yeah.
sounds are big. That's something we couldn't capture on the cassettes we had those days.
Right.
Their amplitude is just way off the charts.
Sure,
Uh,
sure. Totally
so
get.
that'll give away. Like I mentioned, my daughter and I was up there one time, and I just had a little cassette recorder, and I thought I heard it. I did. We heard an owl up there, a couple hundred yards away.
Yeah,
We thought, and it's pretty interesting. I thought I recorded, so I turned the switch on my little cassette recorder. I still had the speakers. So I had the speaker switch on. You know how they'll scream out? I used to anyway. They'll backfeed a little bit, and it screamed out. That owl that was up there turned into Bigfoot chatter. Excuse me. So
hmm,
they can mimic just about anything they want to sound like with the voice mechanism they have. There's where my theory goes too. I think maybe they can reach the frequency that they need to reach, possibly to
yeah,
change their mass into energy. Uh, yeah, and light, sound will turn into light at the 40th octave. Do you guys know that?
Mm-mm.
I did not.
Hmm. No.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Wow.
Anyway,
I think I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that the best way to have an encounter is to basically have a calming,
Mhm.
uplifting vibration with
Yeah.
good intention
Mhm.
and just be, I guess, just be.
yeah,
Right.
just be with somebody that's got the same thinking going on.
Absolutely.
Right.
Because one guy
Just
says, "Okay,
calm and
I'm going to get the money shot here with this gun." Well, I don't suggest going without a gun. I mean, a lot of people think they got to go without a gun to have
Yeah.
an encounter. Well, no, not with what we encountered anyway. I
Sure.
carry a gun
Mhm.
with me for other reasons.
Right. I
And I
Exactly.
mean,
think they know
there's
that.
bear and everything else. There's not just the
But
cryptids
I
out
think
there
they,
that'll get you.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well,
I
the
think
time
they
I
know
went up
that.
there,
They understand that that your weapon is not to hurt them, you know? I
right?
Right.
think they
I think
understand.
they know what your intention is, but
Right.
maybe they know more about you than you do.
Mhm.
They
Well,
may know more about what you
yeah.
would do if they freaked you out. And I
Right.
Yeah.
know a couple of the guys up there, if they ever shot one, if they ever came around and spooked us, they'd have probably shot at it. And
Yeah.
Right.
that's what most people would want to do. But I've talked to a lot of people over the years that's had them in the scope of their rifle and they just couldn't shoot for
Mhm.
one reason or another.
Yeah.
A lot of
Yeah.
humanistic components to them.
Daryl asked, Ron, have you had them mimic you? He has.
Have you had them mimic you? Well,
No,
not that
yeah.
I could interpret that way. I mean,
Mhm.
no. A lot of people have their name called out in the woods, just like their dog's name called out in the woods.
Mhm.
And I've had a lot of them will track people out of the woods, where you don't see
Yeah.
them, but you hear them. and some
Right.
follow them bipedal, follow them out in the woods,
Yeah.
and they'll throw rocks, but they never hit you.
Yeah.
Never hit me.
Yes, it's happened to me.
Al Berry and
Wow.
I was up in
Yeah.
Northern California one time some guys called us way back deep in a mining camp, an abandoned mining camp, and they said they've been having some encounters back there and wanted us to investigate it. So we went up there and they drove us way back in there, and we stayed around the campfire that evening. And they tell us about this happened, that happened. They'd seen it once in a while, and all of a sudden this rock come whizzing by us. I mean, it was like a catapult out of a cannon or something. It was real fast.
Wow.
Hit the tree, and these guys freaked out. They said, "We're getting out of here." 'Cause, they just left. We stayed there the night and found the rock
Sure.
the next morning where it had been found the tree where it had been chipped off. But
Mm-hmm.
then Larry Johnson, one of the Johnsons, was up there one time, and he was coming in from a different way that we usually go in, and he had a big rock thrown over his head. But again, they don't hit you. I'm sure they could if they wanted to hit you. They could. They got to
Yeah.
be pretty good at that stuff.
Yeah.
And,
Absolutely.
I'm pretty sure they have a good throwing arm.
yeah,
Yeah.
people say, well, they
Yeah.
have to be flesh and blood. Well, yeah, they have to be flesh and blood to do that stuff and to procreate and to do what they do.
Mm-hmm.
But again, there's more to anything living than just flesh and blood. So
Yeah.
Right.
I'll say that. And I think you just got to understand who we are as humans. There's more to us than just flesh and blood. And
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
understanding
Absolutely.
that stuff is very important to our evolution.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. War Criminal 7 asked, has Ron ever seen a dog man?
No, I have not.
Okay.
But I
All
don't
right.
disagree that they could be there. I
Mm-hmm.
interviewed a guy in Oregon. No, he's in Washington, I think. He wanted to take me to a spot, but the road was closed off, a dirt road. And he said, I've seen the dog man back here. And he says, they're hunting Bigfoot. That's what they do. And
Wow.
anyway, he's afraid he's going to get locked up for being crazy. And I don't know what to
Mm.
tell you.
Yeah.
But they're not going to hurt us. I mean, they never have that I know of ever hurt
Mm-hmm.
a person. But again, what creates those things? What has produced these things from the
Sure.
species on Earth already? Because if they can manipulate the dog's DNA, like I'm sure advanced technology can, and this advanced technology has been here. There's just no doubt in
Mm-hmm.
my mind. I've seen evidence of it all over,
Yeah.
especially down in Peru and Bolivia, where I've been. There's things down
The
there that if you don't see
brothels.
with your own eyes, you just have a hard time believing it.
Right.
Mhm.
And I've seen it on Facebook. I think it was somebody saying, "Got news for everybody. It's these elongated skulls are cradle boarding from the Incas." Well, yeah, they did do that, but they were trying to mimic what the pre-Inca people did, and they're not the same skulls. I've been down there with two different scientists examining
Yeah.
these things. They were naturally elongated. There's no parietal suture up here. You know, the
Right.
Yeah.
sagittal crest. They're,
Right.
they're,
Yeah.
they're solid. They're one parietal. They're
Mhm.
thick. Their skull's thicker. We weighed them. They're about 30% more brain matter could have been held in those skulls.
Yeah.
And there's just some differences about them that's unique to them. They were hybrids of some type. I believe
Yeah.
they were crossbreeding with the Incas, possibly, and the Incas again were cradle boarding there. You're trying to get the same attributes, I think, that these pre-Inca people had, which is the megalithic structures and the stuff
Mhm.
they did down there is just uncanny. I mean, you see it, and wow, we
Mm-hmm.
can't do that stuff today. You know,
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Right.
That was funny that you started talking about that because my next question was from Strangeland about the skulls. So
yeah.
that was interesting.
Yeah, I
Next
just had
question.
those skulls at the meet this last
Yeah.
weekend up in Hama here. I had those. I took the skulls up there.
Yeah.
They're not the actual ones. Joe Taylor, he just
Sure.
passed away a couple of weeks ago, but he's probably one of the best artists in the world at doing that stuff. He made them for me. We
Yeah.
got a permission from one of the museums down there to copy them, and we demummified one too. It was
Mm-hmm.
also
wow.
a baby skull, and it had a single parietal. And actually, they're finding now some that's still was in the womb of a mummified mother, and it had an elongated skull. So tell me how they cradle boarded that one.
Wow.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
not
I don't.
possible.
Yeah.
It's called cranial
Oh,
deformation. Nation is the
Wow.
name. So
Amazing.
Yep. Next question,
heard
Val.
another question.
Yep. Val asks, Ron, do you believe they knock on trees or that they make the noise with their mouth? Thank you.
They can do either one. I know they knock on trees, pretty sure, because they were knocking on trees the night Bill and I was up there when I got to see one.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't see him knock on it. They told answering one to the other. That's what I think they're doing is before they start making their sounds and they're chattering, they'll see what your reaction is going to be to this them being there. So when you hear that stuff, it's important not to just jump around.
Right.
Do that with their hands, they could do that with their hands or their mouth, or who knows, if they can change the matter into energy, they can do. They want to energize the tree.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Wow.
easy. Was how it was happening. They're cutting all these trees down. That would have. I got a whole bunch of stories about trees.
Yeah.
I was still using for firewood if I found a dead one, but I don't cut down live trees anymore. Might be cutting one
Yeah.
of the licks off.
You got stories
No,
about
just kidding.
moving trees?
I
Huh?
I have seen some videos on trees moving and
Moving, yes.
yeah. So I believe it's
Well,
possible. They're living creatures as well.
there's a lot of things we're not seeing that's existing, and
Yeah.
they're
Hmm.
just cloaked out there. I think the UFOs are cloaked. They're here now, by the way. Aliens and UFOs are here. A lot of them are under the water. A lot of them are just cloaked out there in space, but they're here, and aliens are here. I think we're going to get inundated with this. We are being fed a little bit at a time because our government knows about all this,
Right.
and they're not going to reveal it yet because it's going to screw up everything. Everything we
Hmm.
Yeah.
thought we knew is going to be changed,
Right.
Yeah.
and I
Yep.
pretty much believe that all the way.
Right.
And I haven't made up my mind on anything yet, but I got these theories because it's based on a lot of it on quantum science and my experiences. I put it all together.
Wow.
That's what I tried to do.
Glenn Dannison asked, "Did you ever investigate the area around Thomas Bay?"
Where's Thomas Bay? I guess that's
That,
a no.
yeah.
I have no
Yeah.
idea.
I have no idea. I don't know that. Um,
Hey, Glenn, where's it at if you're still here?
yeah. Answer in the chat, and I'll go back to it.
Hmm.
Brown Dwarf asked, "Has Ron been back to Humboldt, and has he ever been to Bluff Creek?"
I've been at Bluff Creek 4 times. Yeah, uh,
Very cool.
a couple times on filming, and another time with Peter Byrne, who was there right after the incident. And it's changed so much because of the flooding. He showed me what tree was there and where the creek would have been in the time when the filming was made.
Mm.
So yeah, I've
Okay.
been there. Been Lovelock Caves 4 times too.
Yeah.
I seen Elvis alive once. But
Glenn
that was
said
before.
Alaska about Thomas Bay. That was Alaska.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I do know.
Okay.
No, I have not been there, but
Okay.
no, I know. Yeah, I was. I had some years in Alaska when I was in the military.
Yeah. Yeah. And the next question is Paul Savage asks, "What are Ron's thoughts on the Todd Standings videos of Sasquatch?"
Well, I wasn't there, and I don't like to say anything about things I don't have some firsthand knowledge about.
Right. I
I just
agree.
don't think it's right. I just don't know. There's a lot of if ands. I do know somebody that was there very close to him, and he has had some stuff happening, according to this person I know. However, he's a little hungry for stuff, so he tries to work too hard to make it happen. But again, I don't know any of this. It's just secondhand stuff.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Gotcha. My theory is on it, I wasn't there when a picture or whatever was taken, so who am I to say it's faked or,
That's,
because there's so many other things that go into pictures. It's, you got sounds and smells and all of your senses. So that's my theory on that.
well,
Um,
I go by that same standard. I don't like to talk about things
yeah.
I don't know about.
Hmm.
Hmm. Wholeheartedly
More
agree
people
with you.
should tick you up on that same alert.
Yeah. Right?
You
Absolutely,
should follow
Marty.
suit.
Absolutely, Marty. 100%. If you weren't there, you don't know. If you don't
Right.
like it, just pass
You
it.
know,
Just don't even look
I've
at
had
it.
I've had two different people that I know pretty well who say they've saw them go into trees and come out of a tree. In
Hmm.
native lore, a lot of Native American myths says they live in two worlds,
Hmm.
and they say they live in trees. Well, do we ignore all that, or is there something to it? They can disappear, and
Sure.
they've been here a lot longer than we have. I think
Yeah.
that's another reason they respect them. I haven't found any Native American that doesn't respect and think these things are real, just because they do. They call them their big brothers, and I think
Yeah.
that's one reason. Maybe these things are show themselves more around Native Americans than they do us white
Yeah.
guys.
Hmm.
I got
Right.
a little
Well,
tricky.
they respect the land. They respect the animals.
Yes,
They respect more than what we do
Yeah.
exactly.
as us.
Yep.
As
Well,
us.
I've started respecting more just because I still eat a hamburger though. I don't hunt anymore.
Right.
Sure. Right.
Yeah,
I'm
Exactly.
right there
With
with you,
cheese.
Ron.
I'll have
Yep.
mine with cheese.
Yep. Next question. Hilton Whittlewood asks, Ron, what is your latest new discovery or latest thing you've learned about these creatures?
well, I'm still learning. What I've learned mainly is how do they disappear. I think I've learned that through quantum physics. Energy and
Yeah.
matter are interchangeable.
Hmm.
uh, that's science fact.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
I think that's kind of important to these people that say the trackway stopped, so they throw them off the cliff because they don't believe it. Researchers do, and I used to. I had some guy up in Canada. I was at a board meeting up there once, and he said, "I can take you right to a place up above Fairbanks where I saw one disappear."
Yeah.
And of course, the guy had a suit and tie on, and I thought, oh, "Okay." I didn't believe it. But I didn't tell him I didn't believe. I mean, I believe. I listen to everybody, and I don't come
Yeah.
out and say, "Oh, you're full of crap." I don't do that, but I thought that until I started getting more and more of those reports. And first thing you know, I started getting them from people that I knew, and I knew they weren't BSing me. And so
Hmm.
I paid some attention to it. I think what I've
Yeah.
learned now, and one of the things that I'm writing about this in my book about energy and frequency and vibration. It's very important to people to understand that's what everything is made from. I think that's how it
I
really
believe that. Yes.
because what you call the paranormal, what you call the woo, what you call miracles, all that stuff is quantum physics at work. A lot of it is. It can be explained
Yeah.
by quantum physics. So my message would be to know who you are as a human, try to evolve yourself, and you do that through love and compassion. You don't do it through hurting something else. And
Right.
Hmm.
when you can start living your life like that, and don't get mad at the little old lady that didn't go take off when the light turned green because she doubled her medication. Just have compassion for her, and me too when I'm stuck there. I, but we have to learn that in life. We're a warring species, and Einstein said, "Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind." I think if he could say it today, he would say spirituality. He wouldn't use the word religion, but so many religions are based on man-made ideas, and you got to
Hmm.
jump through that hoop to make it happen for you. But
Yeah.
consciousness is where we have to study our consciousness, and I think these
Absolutely.
things are sapient beings, and they have a consciousness, and they want to do what's right. And
Yeah.
most of them, unless again they were made by warring something else.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different kinds on this planet, and what they've done to different species is who knows.
Right.
Hmm.
Right. Right. Well, we're coming up
That
to the hour and 44-minute mark. Brandy and Marty, do you have more questions for Ron?
no, no.
No.
I mean, I do, and I could go on for hours, but it's
Yeah.
getting late
Me
his
too.
time, and
Yeah.
I have to stop at some point. Yeah, it's like I have to stop at some point because this could go on. I mean, you might
Yeah.
as well make a pot of coffee because
Well,
it could.
I'm gonna see Ron in a couple weeks, so
Actually, Marty, after the show, don't hang up because I need to see if you have Venmo, and I need you to. I'll Venmo you some money to get me one of his books signed.
Will do. Will do.
So anyway, Ron, we'd love to have you back sometime and not just talk Bigfoot because I mean you are amazing. You truly are. And
Oh,
I
Yeah.
thank you.
really enjoyed this.
Yes.
You humble
Yeah.
me.
Yes. As did
It-
I.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you
me
so
on.
much.
And I appreciate, all I want to do at this age I am is just get the word out and let people start thinking more instead of just believing
Mhm.
everything they're hearing about
Yeah.
aliens, different
Mhm.
things like that. Because aliens are here and they're here for a reason. They want this planet and but they want us to appreciate it better.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
Really started
Absolutely.
really started in 1947 when or 1945. When we blew the big bomb, and that's when aliens were seen. And there's a lot of
Yeah.
programs where you can see the history of that stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for having me
Absolutely.
on, though. I appreciate it. But I'll stick around
Yes.
for a minute.
Thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
please
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you so much. And we appreciate each and every one of you guys out there. And tune in tomorrow to Tex and Danielle Diva's new episode coming out. And then next week, there's a bunch of great shows coming up too. So, and don't forget to subscribe to the Nonna Boss on YouTube. I've been dropping her link. So be sure to
Thank
subscribe to
you.
her as well. And thank you again. And we will
Thank you,
see.
Marty.
Yes, thank you,
Anytime,
Martin.
ladies.
Hang out. Don't hang up yet. See
Okay.
ya.
Okay.
But we'll
All
see
right.
everybody next week. And God bless and good night.
Good night. Happy Easter.
And happy Easter.